I have a 2002 Volkswagen Passat with a 1.8 engine with turbo. I suspect that my mass airflow sensor is failing on me because every once in a while it kind of acts like it's not getting gas, like it just puts. You have no acceleration. It idles okay and will actually drive. You know, if you put it in drive, it kind of coasts. But if you give it gas, it just almost dies. It's like barely going. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to replace, honestly. But you take this cover and you lift it straight up. It's attached. This goes around a little metal, rubber grommet, and it has two clips that go in here and here. Just lift that straight up, and then you're gonna have 2 or 3 screws here. I believe they're either Phillips head or Torx screws. You remove those, and then you lift this part straight up, and then you should be able to slide this out like this. And your mass airflow sensor is actually in here. If you remove this rubber grommet, the connector is down in here, and you just squeeze it and lift straight up. And this is kind of a pain in the butt. So what you're going to have to do is remove this whole assembly here. So make sure that none of these hoses or wires are connected to it anymore. And then let me see if make sure you can see what I'm talking about. There are some clips that hold this together. There's one here, you just pull it off. There's one down here, right here, and you just pull it off. Kind of hard. There's a couple more. There's one down here. I'm gonna get a long screwdriver for that one. And that might be it. There might be one more though. And then there should be a hose clamp on this. Loosen it up, pull it off. If you don't, you can crack this hose. It's plastic, and it goes to the secondary air injection, and that's kind of a pain in the butt to replace. So I would definitely take that off. Take this one off. I don't think. Yeah, I need to loosen that up. So I'm gonna get a screwdriver and release that clip, loosen that hose clamp, and pull it off. I'll be right back. I turned HDR on. Hopefully it makes the lighting a little bit better. So you just got that one, and we'll just loosen this one. Hose clamp up. Wiggle it off. Alright, and this hose is kind of a pain in the butt to put back on. And there is one more clip that holds the top half of the air box together, and it's right here. There we go. Okay. So now this box should lift up. I'm gonna try to see if I can. There we go. I should be able to make this work. There. This stupid heat shield. I'm actually going to disconnect this hose because I don't want to break it, and it'll be easier to take that thing off. And if you unplug the connector to this little valve here, then this little wire set right here can actually go on this side of the box. Ow. Okay. Just kind of put that out of the way. Alright, so this box should lift straight up now. Alright. Piece of electrical tape in there. Alright, so this is your mass airflow sensor right here. So what you need to do to remove it is there's a Phillips head screw right here and a Phillips head screw right there. So I'm going to get a long Phillips screwdriver. One screw down. Screw number 2. Now this part will slide out. Alright, so you actually pull them apart now like this. You keep this piece, you need to reuse this piece. And you look at this, you can look, see this doesn't have a name brand on it. It's actually a cheap replacement, which I bought this car over 2 years ago, and I rebuilt the engine because it had a blown head gasket on it, and just rebuilt the engine. And this was one of my problems. I bought a cheap one, so my fault. Let me get the replacement. This one is OEM Bosch. The OEM one is Bosch, and I'm trying to show you guys the part numbers. Volkswagen and Audi. Part number is 06A is in Alpha, 906461L is in Laura. So, and this one's made in Germany, so it's a direct replacement. So what you do is you line these two pieces up like this. Okay. And then make sure this rubber thing is pushed down so it doesn't get kinked up. Just slide it in the hole. You get your screws. Helps if your screwdriver is magnetized, because these screws, it's a deep thing and it's kind of hard to get the screws in there without dropping them. So look at it, you can see that that top one's lining up. The bottom one, you have to really push it in, but now it's lining up. So let's start with the bottom one. I'm not going to tighten it down, I'm just going to get it started. So push this in. You should be able to get the screws started. Make sure you put both screws back in. And here I'm putting the clips back on. Make sure that the box is put back on, the top half is put back on without the air filter being pinched in, and that the clips are all hanging outside and that the cover isn't smashing one in. And there I'm putting the hose back on and tightening down the hose clamp. And plugging in the connector back into that valve. There it goes. And plugging in the mass airflow sensor. And working the rubber grommet back into its position. Now I'm putting the big air hose back on, and this is kind of a pain in the butt. The bottom of it kind of gets wrinkled up and doesn't attach back very well, so make sure that it's on equally on all sides. I usually put it on the bottom side first, that way I can see how it's fitting on the top, and I get it on, and then I tighten the hose clamp down. And I already put the secondary air injection hose on. That hose is supposed to have a hose clamp, so if you put that on, make sure that you tighten the hose clamp on that as well. And here I'm just rotating the hose clamp on the big air hose. That way I can get my screwdriver on it and tighten it down. And I'm checking to make sure that it's on because, like I said, it doesn't go on very well. Here I'm putting the air shroud back on. This is kind of a pain in the butt. You have to work the front section in first, but the engine kind of gets in the way. And then pop it back on the left side over there. Pop it on. And there's 2 or 3 Phillips head screws in the very front that you need to put back in. Don't forget. And then this has 3 clips. There's one on the left side that goes on a rubber grommet. And then there's 2 tabs that pop into place between connectors on the top of the airbox. You can see that the engine is running fine now that I have replaced the sensor. I really hope that this video has helped you guys out, and peace out.